Hi! In today's video, I'm drilling holes, pointing out areas that need fixing, painting 3D printed parts, and doing a lot of dry fitting. Today I'm going to show you the cockpit build of the 1/48th scale P-39 Airacobra from Arma Hobby. As you can see, I'm using 3D printed accessories in the build. The print files are available for download on the model manufacturer's website. This is the first of 3 videos. In the next one, I'll highlight all the areas that need attention, and the final video will focus on painting and weathering the model. As usual, I start by preparing the parts I'll need. I cut all the elements from the sprues, remove flash, and clean up any small imperfections. A good way to improve the visual appeal of the model is to drill holes in the bulkhead behind the pilot's seat. This part will be clearly visible in the finished aircraft. To get rid of small burrs and uneven spots, apply extra thin glue. To keep things from getting boring, I prepared all the cockpit parts off camera. Remember to remove the mold seam line in this spot. On the side of the instrument panel, the sprue attachment point interferes with assembly and needs to be cleaned up. The same goes for these locator pins. They prevent proper alignment of the fuselage halves. This part was particularly difficult to fit, so I eventually decided to remove the alignment pins entirely to make fitting easier. Watch out for flash in this area. The rear bulkhead with the pilot's seat needs to slot into these gaps. Also, the flash along the side of the cockpit floor can interfere with the assembly, so make sure to clean that up too. I can finally start assembling the cockpit. At this stage, we also need to glue together the nose landing gear bay. The gear bay is narrow, so for now, I'll glue only one wall. The other one will be attached after painting. I started painting with dark pre-shading. Next, I painted the entire model with Tamiya XF26 deep green paint. Sorry for the quality of this part of the video. I lost some of the recorded footage. I'm trying to paint in thin layers so that the cockpit color doesn't completely cover the shading. Unfortunately, it was my first time using Tamiya paints, and I overdid it. They have excellent coverage, and once the paint dried, The shading turned out to be barely visible. Brushes in action. I'm adding highlights to raise details to increase contrast. I also painted all the necessary details, such as the seat belts. I'm using heavily thinned paint to avoid flooding the details. At first, it looks terrible, but after 2 to 3 layers, it turns out fine. Let me know what you think about this model. I'd love to read your comments. If you like what I'm doing, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. It really helps me in growing the channel. Another technique for highlighting raised details is dry brushing. I used it on the radio, which will be clearly visible through the canopy. Applying decals to the instrument panel requires a bit of patience. To help them settle nicely, I use the proper setting solutions. I also painted the front landing gear bay. Here I used a different technique. First, the base color, followed by shading with a darker paint. I also added some paint chipping in selected areas using a silver pencil. Time for a wash. I decided to go with a dark brown color. I sealed everything with a matte clear varnish. I think the interior looks pretty good. I also added cables to the radio. As I mentioned earlier, I completely removed the mounting pins in this part. Using gloss varnish applied with a brush, I simulated the glass on the instrument panel clocks. Time for one of the many dry fittings. I won't show them all, but I checked several times to make sure everything fits and that the fuselage closes without issues. In my opinion, the most important rule for any modeler is measure 3 times, glue once. As you can see, everything fits very well, and the cockpit doesn't push the fuselage halves apart. I only had to slightly sand the sides of the fuselage halves, but I'll show that in the next video. In that one, I'll highlight all the spots that need attention to avoid assembly issues. I can finally glue everything together. Mounting the instrument panel in its place is a bit tricky, but after a while, I managed to position it correctly. The last part, and after adding some weight, the fuselage can be closed. Stay tuned for a bit longer. At the end of the video, I've included some photos from the interior build. Thank you for watching. More P-39 build videos coming soon.